Hello, what about a visit to the Ship Ahoy event at Summerlee in Coatbridge? Welcome along to the video. We're here at the Ship Ahoy event here at Summerlee in Coatbridge, and we'll check out the various models and all the various organisations here at the Ship Ahoy event at Summerlee. So join me, David, here on this video on What About. Oh, here we go. An action shot here from the RNLI lifeboats.
Oh, the one on the boat and the helicopter.
Oh, look at that. Look. Thinking about the helicopter. Wow.
Means what's that? Who's the boat?
Is that? Here at the Ship Ahoy event, got the Sir Walter Scott. We've got the Clyde River Steamer Club.
Michael McLaughlin, who's a trustee and the vice chairman of TS Queen Mary. Is it a charity?
It is indeed, yes. The charity has been in existence since about 2012 when the plans were coming together to rescue Queen Mary. Queen Mary was in a pretty well in a state of dilapidation, languishing down in Tilbury docks. So the ship was down in Tilbury and it moved from its berth in London, where it had been since 1988. Moved in 2009 simply because they were wanting to use the space of Victoria Embankment right next to Waterloo Bridge. They wanted to use it for a luxury water bus service. So Queen Mary got punted up the river and essentially forgotten about. So in 2015, she was on the verge of being scrapped because the owner at the time, unfortunately, hadn't paid the berthing fees. So the charity managed to come in at that point, raise sufficient funds, and purchase it.
Right.
So
They have to pay the berthing fees.
well, a deal. Let's just say a deal was done.
Was struck.
Yeah. So in 2016, she was made ready for a return journey. Now she had actually left the Clyde in 1981, and she was the first, the only steamer, as far as we're aware, that actually left the Clyde in retirement and actually came back home. So she came back in May 2016, went into dry dock, and eventually came back upriver and was berthed out at the Science Centre, where she currently is at the moment. So since then, the charity has raised some £5.5 million. Much of that has actually been spent stripping the ship out. So she is literally internally back to the bare metal. And originally it was the late Robbie Coltrane,
Yes.
who was our founding patron. And Robbie was having sailed on the ship, was extremely passionate about her. But Robbie kept saying, wouldn't it be amazing if the ship could sail? Yeah. And we thought, well, let's just leave it a static attraction for the moment. It's not overly ambitious. In 2019, we got the royal patronage of Princess Anne, so the Princess Royal. And obviously, the ship is named after her great-grandmother.
Yeah.
So she had a very, very keen interest in the project. And both the Princess and Robbie were essentially singing from the same hymn sheet. The Princess said, exactly like Robbie, ships were meant to sail. Is this possible? So we consulted the naval architects and the other experts, and they said, well, the hull is perfectly sound. You can't actually do this. And then suddenly we're thinking, all right, okay, we'll move from static attraction to undertaking a feat never attempted in UK maritime history. So since then, the ship has been dry docked again in 2019. We went over to Govan in May of 2023, and the funnels, two dummy funnels that were actually fitted when she went down to London in a kind of token nod to the past. They they weren't quite the right size or dimensions or raking. So they've been removed and scrapped. The bridge and the captain's cabin, the vents and the deck furniture, they've all gone. And for the first time, we have installed steel decks. So we've removed all the Burmese teak, and that has actually enabled us to put a roof on the ship. Because before, if anybody had been on a tour, they would actually see, if it was raining, it was like the bucket dance.
Aye.
You had about, 30, 40 or more buckets inside because there was so much water ingress through the timbers.
And ship's cockers are not 10 a penny anymore.
No, exactly. And what they had done when she was down in London, you had your drinks and the umbrella, everything was level. But anyway, so that was a disaster because water got between the timbers and the composite. So when the composite was taken off, we realised that the timbers were not really usable again. So for the first time, she now has a roof. The buckets, I'm very pleased to report, have gone.
They sold them on in 78.
Oh, we should have done. We actually missed a trick there. I think at one point we'd cleared out all of B&Q, all the buckets they had. So we've also got about 2/3 of a steel deck on the promenade deck. And the windows have been taken out as well. So the next stage, as I say, we'd raised between the ship coming back and where we're at just now, 5.5 million has already been raised.
Right.
The next phase will be to get her back into dry dock, to remove her propeller shafts that haven't been looked at since the 1970s.
On that, just a wee quick, is there still tradesmen skilled enough to deal with it?
One of the key challenges, and I'm told by the naval architects that this doesn't present as a problem. When the ship was in London, she was the largest vessel to go that far up the river. So in order to have her kind of sitting fairly low so that she wouldn't collide with the London bridges, they filled the lower deck, or the midship section of the lower deck, with 200 tons of concrete. Which seemed like a very good idea at the time. But so we have been reassured that all that concrete can quite easily be removed simply by taking it out and putting in prefabricated hull sections. So she'll have a new midship section. So that'll be relatively easy. But in terms of skills, if you actually look at the hull, part of it is still riveted over the years. Some of it's also welded.
Right.
So it'll be like a combination of both, because obviously riveters, they're not exactly that easy to come by. So there will be a level of compromise. What we will be doing is we'll be trying to remain as true as we can to our heritage. One of the key things, obviously, is education as part of the charity's manifesto. and we have very close working relationships with the City of Glasgow College, with the University of Strathclyde, and the University of Glasgow, amongst others. So we have had many hundreds of students and cadets involved in the project since the ship came back in 2016.
Hands-on.
Very hands-on, yes. Emptying buckets, you name it. Supporting
Core element.
events, yes. Doing a lot of the maintenance and the strip out. So it's the education side of it is very, very important to us.
You spoke about going to dry dock soon. Will that be down to Greenock?
Yes. Yes.
Dales Marine quite
They
competent for all of that.
they've been absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So over the next 2 or 3 years, and in terms of funding, it's probably going to take that long.
Yeah.
Dry dock first to remove the and inspect the propeller shafts, freshen up the paintwork, do a couple of other kind of minor repairs. Next year, very much, it will be the full repair on the hull.
Right.
And then we'll start building her up from the inside, completing the decks, and at some point, obviously removing the concrete as well. And then we can start the fun stuff in terms of fitting it out.
What about the engines? Have you got an idea of how they will actually, what have already been designed?
What we've decided to do, unlike like Waverley, for example, Waverley, the engine room, for anybody that knows anything about Waverley, is a destination in itself. You get down there, it's hypnotic, fantastic to watch. You can stay there all day. On a turbine steamer, we only had a small viewing hatch with a series of dials. So there was nothing, it was a bit of a non-event in terms of there was nothing to see. So for us, that presents a wonderful opportunity to install modern diesel and electric engines.
And you'll still not be able to see them.
They will still be hidden. Hopefully you won't be able to hear them very much either. But in terms of fuel economy, it will absolutely make the way of savings. It'll be fantastic. And she'll still achieve, like a very, very decent speed.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you're reducing the weight, but you're adding to it and so on. What kind of capability do you think she'll have? 10 knots, 12 knots?
Well, at the moment, I think our trial speed was just over 19 knots. Way back in 1933. We are hoping to achieve certainly in the region of maybe between 16 and 18 knots. It's still to be decided because obviously so many calculations that weight and stability have to be done. And these all have to be kind of factored in. But we're still hoping that she'll be going at a fair old speed.
Now, I was a junior purser aboard her in 1969, give or take, and the catering was superb, and it was linen cloths and serviettes and all the rest of it. That kind of idea coming back.
Absolutely. We've actually got an Art Deco ship. And some of the features that were effectively concealed when she was in operation from the 1930s. A lot of the kind of the tiles, for example, on the main deck had the red, white, and blue stripes that were very, very typical at the time on ocean liners like the big Queen, the younger Queen Mary, the SS Normandy. So she did, and she was a little more modest, obviously, than compared to the ocean liners, but she did have a lot of kind of luxurious Art Deco features. We will be kind of basing our designs on that Art Deco era, but she will be a bit more luxurious than what she was originally, for sure.
Now, when my day she was Queen Mary 2,
yes.
Why did you lose that suffix, as it were?
Well, she became the Queen Mary II back in 1935. Now, there are two versions of this story. There's the romantic version and there's the rather mundane version. The romantic version was that they wanted to call the ship the new Cunard liner that was sitting on the stocks at John Brown's.
Right.
They wanted to call yard number 534, they wanted to call Queen Victoria. So they approached the King and said, can we call our new ship after England's greatest queen? And he apparently said, my wife would be delighted. I love that story, and there may well be an element of truth in it somewhere. But we We've been in, we worked with the Cunard Archives in Liverpool University, and the kind of more mundane reality was that because it was the Depression, Cunard wasn't doing well as a company. Oceanic, that owned the White Star Line,
White Star, yeah.
wasn't doing terribly well. So the ship 334 was sitting on the stocks, quietly rusting. All work had stopped. So Cunard went to the government and said, "Can you give us a
Finish
loan?"
this, yeah.
And they kind of said, "Well, we will do it if you merge, if you and Oceanic merge." So they became Cunard White Star.
White Star.
So the only they had, what we found out recently was it was a public competition to name the ship, by way of furnishing suggestions. And you had things like Queen Mariana, all sorts of variations. None, apparently, no Queen Mary. So when the two
The King's wife was pregnant.
no, when the two shipping companies merged, obviously the legacy traditions from Cunard, all of their ships ended in IA, like Lusitania, Mauritania, Aquitania. For Oceanic, it was IC, like Ceramic, Olympic, Britannic, the one we don't want to mention, most famous of all.
Right.
So they wanted to get away from that, and they knew that the King and Queen were going to be at the launch. So they thought, right, wouldn't it be a wonderful thing if we could call our ship after the reigning monarch, Queen Mary? So they thought, right, okay, well, we can do this easily enough. And then they suddenly realised that on Lloyd's Register, there was already a Queen Mary. So Sir Percy Bates, who was the chairman of the Cunard, this newly formed Cunard White Star Line, came up to Glasgow and spoke with Queen Mary's owners and asked if it would be okay if they could get the name. They said no. They said no, there's too much competition. They owned the King George V, the Queen Alexandra, and they said there's too much competition in the Clyde, especially from McBrain's, and that name means something. So after a bit of negotiation, I think even John Brown's got involved trying to persuade them. They eventually conceded, and as part of the acknowledgement of that sacrifice, they donated a portrait of Queen Mary by artist Arthur Trevethan Nowell, which kind of hung in the lounge. It was a brass plaque, again acknowledging the fact that they had given up the name. And in addition, Queen Mary was actually chartered for dignitaries for the launch of Queen Mary and in a couple of years' time of the Queen Elizabeth. So there was this close association with Cunard White Star. The ship was also used when the Queen Elizabeth, after the war, immediately post-war, Cunard White Star chartered the ship to take the Queen and the two young princesses out for the official sea trials of the liner, Queen Elizabeth.
So Queen Mary, the big one, and the wee one was out still under that name at that time?
She was Queen Mary II.
She was by
She was. And the name was changed officially on Lloyd's Register in 1935.
Right.
And the Glaswegians, having the sense of humour that we do, very affectionately referred to the ship as Queen Mary II.
Aye.
So Queen Mary II got her own name back in 1976. So there was a re-adoption ceremony on board, which was performed by actor Roddy Millen.
Oh, aye, nice.
Parahandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to settle my brain out to find that. What brain I've got. Anyway.
So the ship actually retired just a year later, so it was very short-lived in terms of their operating with that name.
Good. All right, so we'll let you get on, and we've seen a whole lot of artist impressions of how she may look, and let's hope that maybe for my 80th she might actually say, which is in 4 years' time. Thank you very much.
Listen, pleasure.
Thank you.
This is a machine used by Glasgow Corporation right up to the late 70s. This is the sort of machine the Scottish Bus Group, like Eastern Scottish, Central, would use.
If I mind right, you had to pull that back
that down,
before you could
it's
issue
on
your
the back.
ticket. Yeah, release it as it were. So do that. Yeah, that's you.
Actually, your ticket back then.
Yep. Foreign items, please.
That thing there is an honesty box. There's the kids inside trams.
All right.
The conductor, Clippy, was upstairs and you were just in one stop. You still had your money. They didn't come down. You could either put the money in that, or put it in your pocket. And so
How many folk would have used that, eh?
way back then, with trams, maybe more honest people about.
Yeah.
Unless you're skint.
Unless you were really skint.
Gets on it. That bag, that's just a coin bag. That'd be quite heavy, all the pennies and
Of course, aye. Farthings and halfpennies and stuff.
all the heavy coins back in the
I
day.
doubt very much there would have been a pound in it.
Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust are here at the Ship Ahoy event. So here's one of the vintage buses that the Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust has here at Summerlee at the Ship Ahoy event. We featured the Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust on one of our earlier videos at the West End Bus Fest in Glasgow that was held at the Riverside Museum. What we do is now on this video here at the Ship Ahoy event at Summerlee, we'll take a wee trip on the vintage bus here at the event. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go and take a little bus trip on this nice classic bus. McBrains, I suppose. McBrains for the Highlands. There we go, McBrains for the Highlands. Royal Mail Services. So let's go on this bus. Lovely so it is. Look at that. We'll go on board the bus. Love it.
Welcome aboard.
So I'll set off now from the museum. So there we go, vintage bus. Enjoyed that little trip. The Glasgow Vintage Vehicle Trust. An old classic McBrains bus. This model here is the King George V model. Look at the amount of work that's gone into this model of the ship. Absolutely great quality. It's busy on the upper deck here, people enjoying their journey here. So this is the King George V model, right here at the Ship Ahoy event in Summerlee, Coatbridge. And it's powered by 2 electric motors and 100-watt drive to 4-bladed props. The sound system has recordings from the Harry Steamer Waverley. This is the St. Columba. Caledonia. And this is the model of the Jeannie Deans. And this model, the Waverley, adult steamer, the Waverley. Got a very busy trip on this model here. Look at that, very busy. Folk off on a day out. Down the water, as I say, down the Clyde, on the Waverley. You can see the paddle is working there. There we go. Paddle's spinning. Lights are on there as well. There we go, and that's the Waverley, adult steamer Waverley. That is a great model. Great detail, great detail. Calmac ferry model here, Isle of Mull. See the work is going into this model here in just a second. And at the stern of this model, Isle of Mull. Excellent. Great work. Calmac, Isle of Mull. Now these were my favourite Calmac ferries. I called them streakers. The Gulak to the Noon ferry. I think you had the Saturn, what was the other one you had? Saturn, so Saturn, Juno and Jupiter was the three Clyde streakers, as it were, the Calmac. So I love these boats. Miss seeing them on the Gulak to the Noon route and the Ross's Moon Grey one. So this one, this model, like this one. This model is of the Jupiter. There we are, the Jupiter. There you go. Calmac Streaker, the Jupiter model. This is a model of the MV Lochmore. Caledonian Upgrade Calmac MV Lochmore model.
All 3D printed, etc.
Oh, all 3D printed. Now this little table here, I'll just quickly show you. So everything's all 3D printed apart from the Jupiter ones. There you go. So this little table on at the moment, all 3D printed. Just apart from Jupiter, as we've just seen on that one ago. This one, right in the middle here, this is what it looks like when it's first 3D print, when the models are first 3D print. That's what it looks like before all the detail goes into the models. So that's what it looks like. So first 3D printed. The Ship Ahoy event is being held here at the Summerlee Museum in Coatbridge. Now we'll take a look at some of the other exhibits here at the museum, and well, right behind us here is a what we call classic car. This is a Singer Chamois. Look at that, nice. Is it racing car green? Would you say, Willie?
Very metallic.
Metallic green, that's what it is.
She's a fancy, really fancy helmet.
A fancy helmet. There you go. So we'll take a look at some more of the exhibits here at the museum, Summerlee Museum. It's in Coatbridge, and this is a BSA 250cc motorcycle. It's got classic cars and classic bikes. And this is a cinema projector. And the seat here, this is the kind of seats that was in the cinema seats in 1930. 1930s. Cinema seats. Alongside this historic cinema project. This is a Compton cinema organ. There we are, the Compton cinema organ. This is what a dentist, an older dentist, would look like. Coventry Climax fire pump and monitor. Got a Springbok train here. There we go, let's go and take a closer look at the Springbok. We're now heading over to Miners Row. Now this is as you see, a miners. Well, it's an old miners street, yeah, you would say. So we're going to see that in just a second. Just down there is a canal. And here are the vintage trams. A Glasgow Corporation tram, a former Glasgow Corporation tram this is. They're not operational at the moment and haven't been operational for a wee while, but you can still come along and appreciate the work that's gone into maintaining the actual trams themselves, and yeah, visit and appreciate the trams are still here at Summerlee, but not operational at the time being. Here we are, Miners Row. We've just been into the Summerlee Wee Sweetie Shop, and I've got some cola bottles. That was my choice of sweetie. There we go. Nice cola bottle. Well, I'm going to eat this. I'm going to ask Willie behind camera there at the moment. What did you get sweets wise, Willie?
I've only stepped out now because I can't remember. What else did I get?
We've got cola sweets. Can't remember there. Like cola sweets.
Cubes.
Cola cubes. Cola
Cubes.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, still we get.
Cola
You
bottle.
haven't stuffed one of those already.
No, not yet.
You absolute
So-
granite.
So,
Absolute
I
granite.
was looking for cinnamon balls, but didn't have any.
Don't have any cinnamon balls.
Cola bottles
That
will
really.
suffice.
Yeah.
Cola bottles.
Absolutely
Good to
not.
have these. So, Summerlee Wee Sweetie Shop.
A selection of old style sweeties. Wish I could remember what I've got though. I'm all out of the place.
Okay, what have you got with it?
Peppermint creams.
Peppermint creams, yep.
Right, okay, another packet here. Rustle. Wish I could remember what I did then. Oh, I think that's a, can you see that? I think it's a cola cube.
Nope, didn't see any.
I'll bring one out. And if I bring it out, you realise I have to eat it.
That's right. I don't make all cola cube will have that.
Yeah.
There we go. Cola cube.
Oh,
So cola bottles, cola cubes, and the peppermint.
under that.
Yep. Oh, got another one there. Okay. Just have a look up here at the some of the heritage we've got here at Summerlee and over to Tramps. We're finding the sweet stores again. Oh, here we go.
You and I, David.
What are they?
Odd fellows.
Odd fellows. That's what we call them sweets there. Odd fellows. There we go. That is from Summerlee Wee Sweetie Shop. Summerlee Coal Company. Into the coal heritage element of the museum. Vulcan replica barge boats, and just behind the Vulcan, that's Summerlee Museum, the main Summerlee Museum building, just behind the Vulcan barge boat replica. Thank you for joining me, David, here at the Ship Ahoy event and the Summerlee Museum here in Coatbridge. We'll leave a few videos for you to enjoy here on the channel.